Well, it's President's Day. It's warmed up. The wildlife is out. We have squirrels that live. We probably have multiple families of squirrels that live in this tree in our backyard. It's a redwood. They come out here, they'll sit up on the trailer. Where'd he go? Oh, there he went. Anyways, we're heading into the shop for doing some pouring today since it's warmed up. Alright, so we have 3 bars we're going to try and pour today. We're going to try and do another Tweety, and this one will be CO8 as number 7. We have a bar I'm going to try and pour for my brother-in-law. He's part of the Cherokee Nation, so he's from Bird Clan, and we're going to try and pour him this. And then I have one that I'm going to pour that is going to be a surprise. So we'll see how that one turns out. It just happens that that one ends up being, to get it to print right, and you can kind of see the progression and how the sizes of these are. So it's going to be the biggest one. We'll see if we have enough silver left for it. But we're starting off today with 6 ounces to melt. Yes, we're melting a buffalo. This one's not really a buffalo because it doesn't have a buffalo on it. We gotta melt down Mr. Obama. And I still have the OPM and the 2 legendary warriors. So we'll probably end up melting all 6 of those today. But I'll get going, creating the first mold for Tweety, and we'll be back. One more thing I'll show you. I did create a board to put my mold on top of when I'm packing my sand in, because I did have printed these with our logo on the back as part of the cast rather than trying to stamp it in, just because I've had so much trouble trying to stamp on these thin bars. So basically routed a small hole in there that's just larger than the logo that will allow the bars to sit flat on here. I can kind of feel where it's at when it's in there. So it allows it to sit flat, and we can pack sand in around it, and it won't be doing a lot of rocking and moving around because of that logo on the back. So that's just one additional refinement I've made to try and make keep it steady, because if it starts moving, it causes problems with your casting later. So, all right, on I go. So we start off with about this much. We're going to very carefully press it down onto the top of the mold, and then I'll just add additional after I've pressed this down. So we want the really fine to make sure that we're going to fill the cracks of Tweety really well. So the fine's on top, but then past the fine, I just add chunks of my previously used sand on top of it. I always use new sand for directly in contact with the mold, but then if it's not charred sand like this, I put it back in this bag and I reuse that just as filler. So there we are. I always like to kind of pack in the top end here, because that, it's just kind of spilling out there. And then take a look, it got a little bit of a separating line here so that I don't get a too much of a issue where I have to do a lot of filing or sanding. I'm just going to kind of press down in there a little bit, get that line around it just a little bit tighter, and then we'll go ahead and talc up this side of it. I don't mind lots of talcum out here because that makes it come apart easier later. But I do try and brush a majority of it off the plate itself. There we go. All right, and it's back to the sieve. All right, and moment of truth for whether or not our mold turns out okay. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to try and pack the edge here just a little bit. I like to pack the edge just because that helps me ensure that I'm not getting a lot of sand in the silver when you're pouring it in. Always a concern. So I watched Silverpunk do this, so I learned this part from him, basically using my thumb to create most of this area for the sprue. And then I'm going to just pack that area where I just took that out of. Again, just creating a nice hard packed area so that a lot of the sand's not coming off with the silver. And what I like to use is my screwdriver. Nice broad flat end. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it right at the edge and press down. I'm creating just that slightest depression there. And I don't want a lot of depression on this side because that's just more to try and file off later. This side I want to go basically the depth of the bar. And rather than trying to pull it out by packing it in, I'm just ensuring that this area around here is really packed tight. There we go. That's about the width of the bar. So now what I'll do is I'll grab some electric tape. Well, actually, I'm going to take my glove off first. Grab some electric tape. This is one of the stickier tapes I have in order to try and get that bar out of there, or the mold out of there. And of course, the talc powder does make this a little bit trickier. I mean, tape's one use because that talc powder really makes it. I'm just going to tap it to try and loosen it a little bit. And then we pull. There we go. Looks like we got just a hair pull out right here. That's not too bad. So if we take a look, yep, that looks like it's going to pour pretty good. Now it does, I do still have this little tiny ridge across here. So I am going to press that down. I don't think that there's anything, nope, nothing loose there except for that little piece. So we should be good to pour. So I'm not going to show all this for the other bars today, but we'll see what we get for 3 pours, and I'll pull you back in for each pour. So I'll get this clamped up and ready to go. We'll get the furnace turned on and melting, and we should be back when we're ready to pour. So it's been cold out here in the shop. This cast iron has really gotten cold, so we're spending a little bit of time heating it up, making sure we don't have moisture. We just want to make sure that we don't get to pouring the silver in there and have it immediately freezing up on us, or worse, causing an explosion of steam somehow. So we're just safety precaution, heating up the flask here before we pour. All right, well, it looks like we're molten. That's what the furnace is reading. So I think we're ready to pour. Tongs heated up here. because we have to reuse the same flask. I think I'm going to buy some more flasks so I can do 2 or 3 pours at the same time. But today they're all in the same thing, so gotta pull each one out before we can do the next one. And it looked like the back of it poured pretty good. I see it looks like it's good all the way out to the edges. Oh. Well, got the charred sand over to the side. I have to get the brush out to get all the sand out, but I think that looks like it turned out pretty good. Once we get the sand out and get the sprue cut off and everything. All right, so there's number 1, and I'll get the mold redone here for pour number 2, which is going to be the Bird Clan pour. So we'll come back for that. I'll be back in a moment. All right, I think we're just about there. All right, let's pull it out. This one I'm hoping I get right on the very first try, because I don't have very long before I actually need to give this to somebody. So if this one doesn't work, I'm gonna have to melt it down and go again on the same one. Well, it looks like we have a few pore lines in it that did go down some of the air lines that I put into it there. Oh, and my wife's here. You can actually take a look with me.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it actually turned out pretty good.
I think so too.
Can definitely see the bird there in flight with the rays. So once we get it toned, it will bring out the details a little bit better. We'll see how it looks then. All right, back in a bit. All right, so Tweety cleaned up pretty nice. So we definitely good on that one. This one, what we didn't notice right away was there's actually a hole through it. And on top of that, my sister-in-law responded and decided that she'd rather have this version rather than this version. So we're going to pour one of these instead. Since we're going to remelt it anyways, we'll go ahead and do this one. So that's the plan. Back for the next pour. All right, we're back for take 2 on this bar. I think I got a bigger sprue than I usually do. I don't get the silver going down into the air lines that I put in there too often. Oh, that one turned out pretty good. And it looks like the sister-in-law's choice was probably the better one. Although it has a little bit of graininess there, but I think overall that's pretty good. What do you think of this one?
I think it's great.
It's got just a little bit of graininess here.
That's okay.
I think the Eagle turned out really good.
It did.
So, there we go. All right, well that did clean up pretty good. So I think we're gonna go ahead and go with this bar. So now we're gonna see if we have enough time for one more pour. We'll see how it goes. All right, last pour. Well, maybe the last pour. We'll see how much silver is left in there. Maybe we'll do a small round or something. Melt that real quick. this may have turned out. That might have been the best peek that you'll get at it for now. Because this one's kind of a surprise. All right. Well, all right, I think that's the best quenching sound. I think that may be it for today. So we'll get those bars cleaned up and I'll bring you back later. All right, so we're done, we're back in. I'll show you the back of the one that I'm not going to show you the front of first. It turned out pretty good, I think. The back is actually more colorful than the front. So it's really kind of pastels. I don't know if it's how it's showing up on here, but it's really kind of just pastels. The front is actually more of a graphite blue black. This one turned out really pretty nice. Let's see if I can get the colors to kind of show up on it. It is really kind of a light pastel blue. Now I did these, unlike the last one, I did these with hot water, not hot metal. So the blue really comes across on the back. And get it to really shine there. The front is blue, it's just a little bit more pastels. And it really does bring out the eagle a bit more. Let me see if I can rearrange. Give me just a second. All right, let's see if we can get it to shine in this light better, looking straight down on it. I think this turned out really pretty well. And again, he's part of the bird clan, so that's why we went with the eagle motif on here. And then the last one I did was for 7, and she told me she liked light or dark or colorful. She liked all types of toning. So I didn't like this one to start with. It was actually, so here's number 3, and you can see it's kind of a gray graphite black kind of toning, and hers was looking more like this. So I dipped it in E-Zest to start over and toned it again, and it turned out like this. Purples and blues and reds, and Tweety's actually more of a bronze or gold. It is really interesting colors. So we have number 7 of 7, 4, 7. I'm going to tag her in this video so she can take a look at this. If she wants me to re-dip it, I will, and we can go with different colors. But this is some phenomenal purples and blues here. Really interesting. So there we go. And I have the one other one that I'm not showing just quite yet. So I'm gonna have a chat with somebody, and then either I'll show it, or if the somebody wants to show it, maybe it'll save for a reveal video on their end. So anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.